All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you on our second episode for the day. It's a new episode. Of course, today we have extraordinary day on our channel where we have two different guests. You remember the first person we interviewed is Grace Takane, and then now we are interviewing Ray Dumeti. Wanna explore around their mindset, the way they approach things, and their beliefs, where they coming from as individuals. So, my sister, let me welcome you on Asvaye Explorer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Look, I am so happy to have you here. I've seen you on my timeline. I've seen your profile popping up on my profile as well. So I was out of interest. I was like, there's
Mm,
there's probably more to learn from you since, of course, I've seen you before in we're in same class. So I
yeah.
was very interested to have you here.
Okay.
And thanks for coming.
Okay. Yes.
All right. You're a poet. I wish we start there before we go anywhere else. What is it that what is it that you write about as a poet?
Um, I okay. Normally, my poems are in Sesotho. I hardly write poems in English. So what I write about myself. I write about where I am from. I write about Basotho. I write about everything. So yeah.
All right. And and now I know this interview is gonna have like jumpy questions, but let me take it back to your childhood, when you're growing up. Where were you born? Where did you grow up? And yeah, let us start there. How was it growing up for you?
Well, I grew up in Lesotho, ne? Deep in the villages. So growing up, it was okay. Like I said, I grew up in the villages. So obviously, when there where I was staying, there was no electricity, there was no water. The transport was also a problem to an extent whereby we had to use vans as a mode of transport, like normal vans as mode of transport because we didn't have taxis. So back then, I actually didn't see it as a challenge as much. But when I look back, I'm like, how did I how did I cope with this situation? You know. So my childhood was just average. It had no trauma. I think the challenges that I picked was when I was now in maybe in high school and currently. But apart from that, it was just a normal childhood, and yeah.
Yeah, and o qadile neng jwale ho dula ka mo ka South Africa, and mohlomong ke a feng a mabaka ana sutumetsa hore o tlo dula ka mo?
Uh, my mom is a South African, and then my dad is from Lesotho. So when the reason why I'm this side is because of my mom, and I did primary in Lesotho, and then secondary in Lesotho also. But then when I did my grade 11 to grade 12 in South Africa in Kwakwa, and then from that time until now, I've been in South Africa.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
o leng wa hao ke tse feng, like which are challenges that contributed so much into shaping the type of person you are today? Like, um, among all the struggles that you have, or maybe the challenges that you have, going to school, sometimes without a transport, or having to travel the distance that you had to travel. What are some of the challenges that stood up for you and really shaped the person that you are?
Um. Okay. I'm gonna start from high school because primary it was just normal, honestly, and some of the things I don't even remember. Yeah, but I'm gonna start from high school. Like I said, I did my high school in Lesotho. It was actually the family school where I attended. So it was okay, but it was also a bit tricky because my mom was the principal there, and then you know how it is if you are a learner and then your parent is the principal, and then sometimes people would think that like you're getting benefits or you're being more privileged or something like that, and then after that I went to Mampoi, and it wasn't so much challenging, but I think what was challenging was the language that I used. I get Mosotho, and then Sesotho sa Lesotho, it's not the same as Sesotho sa South Africa. So it was just one of the things whereby people would make fun of me to an extent whereby sometimes I would have to change and speak in English, you know. Yeah. So it was it was hard. It was a little bit hard, but it was okay.
All right, uh, guys, I think we have a break from your side. So if you have a question, please drop your question on the comment section there. I will attend that question. Sorry, you had a breakout there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can
Is
you
it
can.
okay now?
You're fine now. You're fine now.
Okay. So some of the challenges that I met along the way was that I think it was in 2011, whereby our house got burnt. Like literally, there was nothing that was left, and then we had to start our lives from scratch. Like literally, we had to depend on other, like people were donating the blankets, the clothes, and I was still young at that time. So you imagine if you're putting something on and then you're scared to go outside because you're already thinking, okay, ebe moso o apereng kwa mang, or ntho e ke apereng ke ya mang. So it wasn't really comfortable. Like we had to start from the beginning, and then we had to, like, our house was okay, it was just a normal house, but now from moving from that house, having to go to sleep at your neighbor's place because you don't have a place, and then from there having to sleep ka hara mokhukhu where, yeah. So those are some of the challenges that I came across along the way.
Yeah, I want to go deep in a situation, in a crisis that occurred when your house got burned. Ke o kae moo? Ke ho mme wa hao?
It was
Ke
home
ntlo
in
ya mme wa
Lesotho.
home in
In Lesotho,
Lesotho.
yeah. Like I said, remember I said that in Lesotho we didn't have electricity, right? So we used the
Mm,
candles for the light and all that. So it just happened that I had forgot to blow the candle, and it was near the curtain. And then we were going to school. It was early in the morning. Like I said, the transport was a problem in our villages.
mm,
So we were already in a hurry. So if the 5 o'clock car leaves you, that means utosa makakulo ya 9 or something like that. So we were already late, and then we were in a hurry, and then unfortunately I had left the candle there, and that's what
mm.
happened.
Yeah. What was the biggest lesson? What was the biggest lesson from that crisis? Like, um, whether it can be emotionally or it can be like environmentally.
What I learned was that you can actually never understand the situation unless you pass through that. You can never understand how somebody who sleeps without food unless you go through that. You can never understand somebody who tells you, "Hore, I don't have clothes to wear," unless you go through that. So after that whole situation, I actually understood how much I don't have something to wear. Like I'm hungry, I don't have anything to eat. Like I understood because I had gone through that situation and it wasn't easy. So the most important lesson is that you can actually really not understand what somebody is going through unless you go through that certain situation. That is why it's sometimes hard for you to actually understand the pain of maybe someone who has lost a parent, if your parents are still alive. Yes, it's painful, but you cannot really relate to that particular situation.
That confused. And what was the response of, like, how was the response? Was the response of, like, people in the community? Did you feel like they were genuinely helping? What can you say about people? Because, for instance, in the space of business, as people of color would say, people don't support businesses,
Mm-hmm.
or black people are not supportive. What are some of their, or not to say proverbs, but sentiment that you can say about people after you've gone through that situation?
And they were so helpful and they were so supporting. I mean, we live in the villages. It's different from in towns or maybe Lokshin or something. When you're living in the villages, ra tsebana kaofela and we support each other. So they've been there for us. Like I said, even the blankets, the clothes, the pots, like almost everything in Ranaliana at that particular time, it was from the people. It was from the people from my village. So they've been supportive and everything. So yeah.
I like that. I like that. And did you maybe suffer from self-esteem or anything like that?
Based on what exactly?
In general, like, I was growing up as a child, I had a problem of uh, self confidence.
Mm,
I wouldn't believe in myself when I'm presented with the task to perform. Like, I wouldn't believe that I would obtain maybe certain requirement, even if it was not academical thing. Even doing a small thing, like maybe going to the shop without losing money, or going to the shop with, like, and expected to bring like the right product they want to make on. I would just like wouldn't believe that I can do the right thing. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a broad sense of self-esteem.
I don't think it's about having a low self-esteem as such, but I think there are some of the things whereby you think you cannot do or you cannot do better. Maybe thinking or somebody else can do that particular thing better than you. And there are some of the things whereby you're actually proud and you're actually confident, or I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's not about really having low self-esteem. It's about some of the things you really like. Right now, I can't sing, but I've had 2 or 3 people saying that I can sing, and I know I can't sing. So it's not about me having a low self-esteem. Sometimes it's about knowing you, of what you can do and what you cannot do.
So you've always been this assertive person, outspoken person from the childhood till this point, because I've seen some of your videos and I was like cracking myself out seeing where you acting, where you acting, and I saw the one where you were like where you portrayed yourself as the uncle, and it was the uncle and this
Oh.
wife. Yeah. So when I look at something like that in my mind, I was like, probably there was where, like, there's a line where maybe your confidence went low and now it's retaliating at its maximum point.
Mm.
That's why I'm questioning that. You've always been a
No,
confident person. Is that so?
actually, I was actually I was the opposite of what I am now. That's why a lot of people, even on my comments, if you can see, everybody is like, "What happened to the shy Ridumezi? What happened to the quiet Ridumezi? Like, we cannot believe that this is you and all that." I'm actually the opposite. Back in the days when I was growing, obviously I was this shy person. I was quiet. I actually didn't like people. I'm not sure if I still like people even now, but I'm saying that I didn't actually like people. I didn't get along with people. I was just like that, that extreme introvert. I was like that. But then growing up, I was like, hi man, because in high school I used to do debate, ne? So I was like, if I can do debate in front of everybody and then compete with the people who are in grade 12 when I'm in grade 8, that means there's something in me. It's just that I haven't opened up yet. So when after matric, I started discovering myself and trying to find myself. And then I was like, you know what, Kgotumetse, maybe you need to be out of this cage. You need to be out of this bottle. And then I started doing poetry first, whereby I was recording my videos. The videos, I would take my phone and then recite a poem, and then I put it on Facebook. And then people would love that. I was like, oh, okay. And then I started with those videos that you see. I started with some of them, and then I would say what I want to say or what I've experienced and stuff like that. And then bit by bit, by doing that, I was out of that cage whereby people would say that I am shy, I am quiet. I think I'm still a little bit quiet, and but it's not as bad anymore. So I wasn't like this when I was growing up, definitely not. I was the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. And can you go deep on explaining like the transition of like the transition that took place? What was the reason? You wanted to challenge yourself so that you can discover yourself? Was that the only reason, or like there was a certain reason for that transition of moving from being a shy person to the person that we see today?
uh I think I've always loved poetry, ne? So you can't just do a poem kore o le shy fela tjena o thotse, so when you're doing poetry, that means one way or the other you're gonna have to perform or recite a poem in front of people, and so how o le shy o le tje fela, then how are you going to do that, you know and then the other thing that I've discovered when Sekile Moholo tjena was that I think I love acting. I love, yeah, stuff like that. I love that. So I was like, okay, Kgotumetse, if you love this particular thing, what is it that you can do in order for you to actually at least be there? And then that's when I started making the videos. I started do 1, 2, 3, 4, and also when I was meeting with people, that like when I get comfortable with you, like I become the real me, the inner me that's that's inside there just comes out. So when I was meeting with people would say, that's why you're interesting. If you can try 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe you can excel. If you can do 1, 2, 3, you can excel. And that's when I started making videos. I started making 1, 2, 3, 4, and then yeah.
That's so interesting. And now, oftentimes if you're about to change from the person that you've been to people and become something new that is probably interesting to yourself, like
Mm.
saying now people know you as the shy person and you want to now overt yourself, become an outspoken, become an actor. There are voices there are voices from shortness that how we don't know you as this person. What are you trying to do? Or like those voices that are attached to negativism or negativity, you may say. How did you deal with those voices? Because I'm gonna tell you something. I wanted to do what you are doing, right? And like go crazy about things, speak facts in crazy manner. But I remember this other time I went live and I was trying to act, yeah. I was trying to act. And a friend of mine from China who's been absent for something like 4 years in my life, and I wanted to change. I wanted to do something new. I wanted to embark on different thing that I probably thought it was interesting. So it was like, since when did you become a comedian? And that
Mm.
break my spirit of like
Mm.
going deep into that. And he was like, I know you as a serious person. I know you as a person who really,
Mm.
doing the opposite of what you're doing. And that made me feel like I'm losing myself into the space. How did you deal with that? I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from with this.
Yeah, honestly, I Okay, the thing with me is that like I started with the videos. Obviously, I have never gone live, so I started with the videos. So I wanted to see the reaction of people because obviously people know me as a shy person, a quiet person. So I started with a video and then I uploaded on Facebook. So I actually wanted to see the reaction of people, how they're going to react, are they going to like it, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously there were people who were like, "Hi, Bo, is this you?" But here's the thing: when I was doing that, when I'm doing my videos, because actually that's my hobby. Doing those videos is my hobby. So when I do those videos, either it's the videos of me reciting a poem or acting or whatever, I enjoy it. It feels good. Like it feels good. So if somebody is just gonna come and try to be negative on what I'm doing about something that I'm feeling good about, it just doesn't make sense. So I try by all means to try and ignore those things. But for me, they're not much. I mean, my Facebook people, Facebook people are supporting me, but I remember this other time there was this person, Ote, when I was making my videos, Barry, I'm trying to be honale this other Ausman. Hana ke mang? Kapakit Aus Disable, I think. So they were saying that I'm trying to be like her, the video tsa ka di tshwana le tsa hae. That time I
Mm.
didn't I like I yeah I didn't know her. I haven't even seen her videos. So I had to go and check. I'm trying to be like her. I'm trying to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are challenges, but it just depends on you. Do you feel good with what you're doing? If you're feeling good with what you're doing, then go for it. It doesn't matter whether people are saying negative things about you. And I think also if you're having a supportive family, if you're having a supportive friends, like your cycle is supportive, then that is all that you need.
I see. And I want to get to a point where you start being conscious about yourself, knowing that you live. I don't know if you have found a purpose I don't know if you have found a purpose for you to live, but I actually want to come to a point where now you start planning dreams or having dreams, you start orchestrating goals. Tell me about that process. And what are some of the goals that you had back then, and now you see that they have manifested? Like, what are some of the things that you had as goals, and now they have manifested?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this question. It's so
Okay.
it's so weird. It's so weird because I wasn't like other kids. When we are young, obviously we would say, I want to be, now when I was young, when I was in primary, I used to say I want to be an officer, like Ibelo Police or something. That was
Yeah.
me in primary. But obviously, yeah, because we are not exposed to a lot of careers, the only thing that we knew initially being a policeman or a teacher or a nurse, initially some of the careers that we knew back in the days. So, but then when you get to high school, you see people already having goals of what they want to do or what they want to be. Other people have passion for medicine. Other people want to be do engineering. Other people want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that wasn't me. That was that wasn't me. Like it's so funny. Like I actually didn't know my passion. I actually didn't know my passion, what I wanna do, until I realized that no man, my passion is
All right. I think I lost her there. I'm gonna try to retrieve her on the screen. Are you still there?
yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. You were saying, and I think you were saying you didn't have all those until.
Yeah. So I was saying that I remember sometime I think I was doing grade 11 or grade 12. I thought I wanted to do medicine, or I thought I loved medicine. But then I realized that no man, my personality does not match with me wanting to do medicine. Like they just don't complement each other, you know. So I after matric, I was still struggling on what my passion is, what I wanna do, and all that. And then I upgraded after matric because negata the sciences, so I didn't the sciences, so I had to upgrade. And then my results came out the same way. And then I applied a DFS, and unfortunately I got admitted, obviously for the bridging course first. And then I did the commerce stuff. Remember, I don't know anything about commerce. I don't know anything about economics. So even then, I still didn't think I love economics. I was just doing it because I was like I had to, you know. So I remember somebody telling me that, you know what, if you don't like a particular thing, but you don't have a choice but to do it, you need to learn to love that particular thing, you know. So I tried to learn to love economics because I didn't have a choice at that time but to do it. And then after that, I did it. And then I have, by God's grace, we graduated, and then it was okay. And then my mom said to me, I think you should try education because there are, I don't know if it's you are breaking. Can you still hear me?
Perfectly. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, and then after completing my Bachelor of Commerce, my mom was like, I think you should try education. I was like, education? I was like, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. That was like, hi. Nah, I've never imagined me being a teacher and stuff like that. And then my mom was like, no, it's not just being a teacher. Like, there are a lot of opportunities. That was like, oh, okay, let me just try anyway. We'll see. And then that's when I did PGCE. And trust me, for the first time in my life, when we went for our practicals, day one, I fell in love with teaching. It's so funny. Like I was obviously, when you go and stand in front of kids having to teach, you know, high school students, especially South African students. So having to stand in front, having to stand in front of kids, and you can see I'm just tiny, small, short, you know. So
Yeah.
I was very scared. My voice was shaky when I was teaching them. But from day one, from that first time, I was like, you know what? I love this thing. I remember I was telling my mentor teacher, because we were exchanging them. If I were to teach today, he would teach tomorrow, and then just like that. But I told him, I was like, you know what? This whole week I'm going to take this class for it was economics. I was like, I'm going to take this whole week. I'm gonna be teaching these kids. When now you can go just relax, you know. And then from that time, I started falling. Go back like day one. That day one, I started falling in love with teaching. And then I have a problem of waking up in the morning. But I tell you, that whole week, Neketo happy for my alarm, and then I would just prepare, go there. As challenging as it was, as sometimes the kids would disrespect you, but I would go, I would enjoy it to such an extent whereby I remember sometime and guess my practicals at this other school. I even volunteered myself for 3 months because it was that nice. It was that beautiful. Like even here where I stand, I'm like, you know what? I love teaching. And for the first time in my life, this is this is something that I have passion for. Well, besides poetry and acting and all that, you know. So and remember I only discovered what I love and my passion when I was 25 years of age. So I was already old, I think. So yeah, so that's when I discovered what my passion is. You know, but my goal from growing up like any other person would be, you know what, I just want to work and have money and live a comfortable life. But the thing with me was like I didn't know what I actually want to do. Or not, do I want to be uh, I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be what and what, you know? So I didn't have those things. I only discovered later at 25 years, imagine, hore na passion ya ka ke eng. So yeah.
I see. And I want to question when you say you fell in love with that on the first day, with the teaching process on the first day. Do
Mm.
you think it's something that kicked in naturally, or it's just that it was a beautiful day that day? Like learners welcomed you in a way that was making you happy, or What do you think? What do you think happened? Was it a natural kick in, or it
No,
was just a good
I think it
welcome?
was an no. I think it was a natural thing because, like I said, bana ba sekolo, the high school kids, batella, you know. So especially the grade 11s, I didn't get that warm welcome from them. But anyway, I enjoyed teaching them, you know, because other people were just in a level they're even taller than you, but regardless of that, I fell in love with it. So I think it was a natural thing. It wasn't because I got a warm welcome. No, I did not actually.
Mm, I'm gonna take you to one of your videos. There's a video where you say now you get in class. I don't know what did this boy, what did he do, and you're like, hey, la Mustenyan. Take me,
Oh my god.
Mustenyan. Uh, take me through that. Was that a sum of a scripted thing, or is something that took place?
It's actually something that took place, but obviously when I post videos, I just make them interesting and exaggerate exaggerate more. But
Akon
however,
Kotel.
oh well, man, those kids after break, they're a little bit stubborn, ne? And like I said,
Yeah.
now I am very very short and very tiny, and those kids, like you know, and
Mm,
sometimes as teachers, we of course we can't admit to these learners, but sometimes as teachers these kids, yes, don't do this, don't do that, but deep down yo, you know. So it happened. So it happened in class whereby this learner was being very rude, so
mm.
I had to reprimand. Yeah, I had to reprimand him, and he was so stubborn. But how when you're a teacher, you have to take charge. You have to be in. I mean, you have to be in charge of the class. Try show them that you're the boss of the class, even when you're scared. So I had to do what I had to do at that particular time. But at the end of the day, they know that they are learners, they are kids. So regardless of how stubborn they are, they're still going to listen to you. So
And how do you
yeah, but
reprimand this one? How do you reprimand this one?
wena moshanyana, wena, boy. That's how I do it.
That cracked me out. That cracked me out. And when you say like ke moshanyana mo fihlang thekeng, and you're like, eh la wena moshanyana.
Yeah,
Are man,
yeah, that's the thing.
moshanyana.
These kids, yeah, they are very tall. They are very tall, and I'm short. And then when I have to reprimand him, it's
Hmm.
yeah. So it's challenging, but it's also very nice.
Hey, awesome, awesome. And
Uh,
when you now when you were studying BCom economics, right? This is not something that you really saw or felt love for it at first.
yeah,
how
yeah.
how do you how do you get to finish something that is presented in front of you, whether it's a goal, whether it's an activity or project, something that you're expected to perform or do, without love for it? What kicks in there? What it takes?
Okay, that's why I said that I it's very hard for you to actually do something that you don't like, because when it gets hard, you're going to like I should know I don't want to do this, and then you ended up having an attitude toward that particular thing that you are doing there. So that's why that like I said, somebody came to me. It was somebody that was very close to me then. They came to me and then were like, in order for you to pass economics, because now it was getting real, in order for you to pass this, at least learn to love it. Even if you don't like it, learn to love that, because when you love a particular thing, even when it gets hard, because you love it, you're going to try by all means to achieve that particular thing. So now, honestly, I learned to love economics. So Kahala, it was on my third year. It was second year. Okay. Hana jwale ntho years. It was first year but second year. I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do understand.
Yeah, it was my first year but the second year, that's when I tried to fall in love with economics.
Yeah. What's the process of learning to love something like look like for you? Like when you had to love to to learn to love economics. What was, do you still remember the first steps, or how did you go? If you can summarize that. Regiment, are you still there? All right. Uh, guys, if you have a question, please post your question in the comment section. We'll attend to that question. Let me try to see if I can get her back. I don't know what happened here. And remember, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Asvaye. And you can check us on TikTok. It's Vahle SS. You'll find some of the interviews that we've had there. And remember, you can share our conversations, especially with young people in high school and yeah, the ones in varsity, because we call people on this platform to discuss mindset. How can you achieve your goals? What's the right approach? Or you can actually learn or adapt from how people achieved their goals, because I believe success is nothing but the accomplishment of goals. You set goals and you go for it. So the reason we have this platform, we want to complement the process of achieving your goals. You know, we're talking about mindset. What are the sum of what's actually the attitude that you have in order to achieve your goals. So you can learn more from this platform. You can subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's Asvaye, and TikTok is Batle SS. There are videos that we do there, and right here it's Asvai. I'm gonna try to get it back. Let me see, we have it. All right. Sorry
I'm
about
sorry
that.
for that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's actually no one's fault. I was okay. My question was now, what? How would you describe the process of loving economy at that moment? Because I don't know if that process can be applicable into other things, but how what
Mm.
was like the process looking like?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because from the onset, remember, I didn't know anything about economics. I
Mhm.
didn't know anything about business functions or business studies, or like I was just clueless. What I did in high school was designs and all that. So it wasn't really easy, but it had to be done. Sometimes it's not just about loving it, but at least try, hore, or try to understand it, try to, I could say na nka e beha jwang. Yeah, it's true, hore, in some of the things it cannot be applicable, but okay, try to adjust to that certain thing. Example, even if Hanachina, let's say you're working somewhere where it's not in line with your career, ne? And you actually don't, okay, I'm gonna make a practical example, ne? Currently I'm still job hunting, ne? So sometime this year I was working for census, ne? And obviously it's not something that is in line with what I did, but the fact that I was unemployed, I had to do it. And trust me, it was very hard. It was very hard waking up in the morning only to be chased by people, to be chased by dogs, to be going one little three four. It wasn't really nice, honestly. But at the same time, I ended up not loving, but I had to adapt to the situation. Because later, if you do not adapt to the situation, when are you going to, you're not going to enjoy what you're doing. or you're just going to wake up in the morning and be miserable. You just go in there because you have to, you know. So some of the things, if you fail to fall in love with that particular thing, the least that you can do is try to adapt and to adjust to the situation.
Love that. And looking your life from like the minute you became conscious, or maybe like from at a very early age till this far, what challenge stood out for you? How would you like take us through that one challenge that you say, out of all the challenges that I had, this was the most challenging situation, or this was the most challenging thing for me?
Honestly, the most challenging thing in my life was that one that I've already mentioned, from our house being burned and all that.
Mm,
The other one is just that some of the things you can't go into details, you know. But yeah, that
why
one where
not?
our they're very personal.
I see. I see.
But, yeah, they're very personal. But that one where our house got burned is the challenge that yeah, it's like even now, even today, when I think about it and the fact that I'm the one who did that, you know, it would be different if it was somebody else, but I was the one who did that. Do you understand? So I sometimes I think about it, and it's just not easy even today, knowing that you did one, two, three, four, you know. So it's that one. It's one of the most challenging things that I don't think I will ever forget in my life, based on what happened after that. Also, like the life that we're living and all that. So that one is the one that just stood up for me.
No lives were lost in that tragedy.
Fortunately, there were no some.
Mm. And and did you go through the process of forgiving yourself for that?
Uh, mm, I don't know.
How did you respond mentally on that? Like as you are unfolding your life, as you're unfolding as becoming a teenager, becoming a young adult, what was your like your mental response to that? What is it that your mind is saying pertaining that situation?
I was in grade 9, I think, or grade 10 when that happened. So already since I on a teenage stage at that time. So mentally, I wasn't doing okay. But what made me to be at least try to live and not actually beat myself up each and every day were the response from my parents, you know. My mom is a very strict person, like you know. So I was already expecting hore ebile o tla ntlapa kapa nshape kapa a etse eng. But I don't think I've seen the side of my mom ever in my life. God, she was so calm. She was kind. She was, I don't know what was happening with my mom at that particular time, honestly. So the response that I got from her, my dad is a very chilled person, yeah, now already. So he didn't, I wasn't expecting much from him anyway, you know. But the response that I got from my mom was so humbling. Even today, and the keep like, what was happening to my mom, you know. So I think the response that I got from her and the response that I got from my dad was the one that helped me to actually balance my, you know, me mentally.
The reason I'm going so much down on this subject is because there are people at this moment who have their mind blocked, or who have what happened on them, or what did they or
Mm,
what they did when they were young became
yeah.
suddenly became a blockage for them to be progressive. You know, one
Mm,
like there's a lady who had abortion because she couldn't really have a child given the circumstances at that time. And now she's not progressive in life. And not because she cannot be progressive, but in her mind, she's being tortured by the past
Yeah.
events, you know. Um, there's a boy who had an opportunity to go and study, you know, but they never took that as an opportunity. They chose something else. And now they are living with that mistake, sort of like concerns of mistakes, you know. That's why I'm asking, how did you really get through that mentally? But I think I get the sense now. I think I get the sense. It can go deep what you did when you were young. Ne?
Sorry?
It can really affect like your life as you continue, like the things that you
Yeah,
did when you were young.
definitely. Definitely. That is
I
why
see.
I talked about, I don't remember what I was responding to, but I talked about having a supportive family, supportive friends, and supportive
Mm.
cycle, you know. That is very important, because if they are there for you even when you've done a certain mistake, that means you can move on and go forward. And now you're going to try to forgive yourself, because there's people who are here, who are close to you. They're not judging you, they're actually supporting you. So sometimes we are not able to forgive ourselves because we don't have the good supporting system.
What are some of the principles you detected from your parents, both your parents, that like really shaped your life to
mm,
uh to be a to be like a best life looking at your life right now?
my mom is a fighter. Like, she's a fighter. I haven't reached her level yet, but bit by bit, I think I'll get there, whereby you don't just have to give up because things didn't go your way, or maybe you wanted to try this and then it didn't go your way. You have to push. You push and then you push. So every time when things go wrong, I just think of her. Kere, my mom, her situation in LG, I know she was just going to push and push and push. And how about that in it's going to happen. It does not matter hore o tshwanetse a tlole eng a etse eng, it's going to happen, you know. So that particular trait from her, it's what is actually working within me. And then from my dad is a very soft spoken person, who is very kind, who knows how to talk to people. You know, it doesn't matter now to my dad o kwatile o halefile, you know, fuming and all that. My dad was just going to be calm and, know what to say when, so even that particular trait of my dad, it's what is actually trying to work within me also. And I think somehow it has actually helped me, because now I'm just one of those people who, when I'm angry, I don't just say things immediately. I try to digest and then be quiet, and then when I think I'm okay, that's when I'm going to talk to you, Hore. I didn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, because I have a fear, yeah, if I talk when I'm still angry, I'm going to say things that I'm going to regret. So my dad is like that. I think that trait of him is the one that is working within me, or that shaped me to be who I am today.
Love that you speak more about self-love. I heard you talking about self-love, that people should embrace the spirit of loving themselves. How do you get to that point? How do you start building self-love? Why is it why is it so much important?
Honestly, but if you can't, we're living in a very toxic world. That's the thing, you know. I think I made a video. I don't remember when, one of those videos where I was telling people, Gary, where if you don't tell yourself in the morning or every day that you're beautiful, then o lebelletse mang hore a o jwetse hore o motle? Because you are you. So when up yourself, you need to tell yourself that I'm beautiful. It doesn't matter. You say I have big ears, ne? So it doesn't matter whether I have big ears, I have big head, you have big nose or what. You need to tell yourself each and every morning, oh, you're beautiful. Otherwise, who is going to tell you that you're beautiful? You need to tell yourself every time that you're strong, you're confident, you can do this, because people are not going to tell you that. Other people will come and compliment you, but every time ha motho a o complimenta ho na le batinyana e tlang, on that video I was saying that motho tla compliment you know what, you're beautiful mara tsebe tsa hao re dumetse you're beautiful mara ha ona fikara re dumetse you're beautiful but 1 2 3 le 4, you know, the only person aka compliment fully, it's yourself. So I I don't know how, like I honestly don't know how to tell people to start loving themselves. Like I don't know. But all I can say is that remember that nobody is going to tell you, or nobody is actually responsible of telling you that you're beautiful. You're the only one who is responsible to tell yourself that you're beautiful and you're confident and you're strong. By doing that, that is the only way you can go.
How do you treat yourself when you're going through challenges?
How do I
Like
what?
how do you treat yourself when you're going through challenges? Say now you have just failed a subject or failed a task. How do you treat yourself like during those times?
I cry
I,
first, and then after that, I try. Yeah, I think that thing helps me. Like I cry first, and then after that, I remember. I'm like, no, man, remember you passed a certain challenge or a certain situation, and then you were able to be out of this particular situation. So that means you can still be out of this situation. So what is it that I need to do? If Moshala, if I failed a module, okay, where did I go wrong then? And then I try to check and check and check and check. If it's another situation whereby I don't know, or a hectic situation, or like maybe that one where our house got burnt and then you just there and then you don't know how you're going to get out of this situation. You're like, you were faced with a particular situation, and I'm a Christian, so maybe that's why every time I go through a challenge, I'm like, okay, God, I know that you were able to take me out of this particular challenge back then. So if I'm facing this challenge right now, then that means I'm going to be out of this challenge. But just help me to know what I have to do. Help me to be patient. It's not easy. Sometimes it's we complain, obviously, but at the end of the day, as long as you know that God on that particular situation, that means even the current situation that you're facing now, or any challenge or Nike in, He's still going to do the same thing, you know.
I love that. Love that so much. You know, it gives me chills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now that you mentioned your belief, I want to question around it.
Okay.
How no ba na le dikamano le Modimo personally? What did you realize? Like, can you explain the change that happened in your life when you started having a personal relationship with God? I'm phrasing this question. I'm posing this question this way because as people sometimes would be like would be going to church because our parents are going to church or the family is going to church, and you pray because they pray. You never pray
Yeah.
because yourself need you to pray. So now I'm talking about the conscious relationship that you had with God. How did that bring changes, or how can you explain the changes that you had when you experienced God personally?
Obviously, like you're saying, when we are growing up, we go to church because our parents are going to church, and then, but finally, a point whereby you need to take a decision where now also le moholonyana, ne. So that's
Mm,
why other people get baptized sa ba le baholo, or ba bang batho ba pholoswa sa ba le baholo, pholoswa because on that level whereby you can actually understand hore na modimo ke mang, o etsa eng, ha etse eng. Do you understand?
yeah.
So yeah, so for me, I think I
Do,
think that
can you even recall? Can you even recall? Okay, well, I think I should give you
I can
an
recall that. I remember it
okay.
was on the time when we were from camps. When I at our church, we go to camps, ne? So
Oh yeah.
honestly, how's like only more revived, and then you feel the Holy Spirit is moving within you. Like how's about with a 1 2 3, because now you understand how God works and all that. Ne? So for me, from that, there is, when I took a decision, yeah, now I want to get baptized. That was when we were from the camp, you know, who know clear, and then who know if you're not doing this, then what are you waiting for? Do you understand? And then, but
Mm,
of course, sometimes or you would get baptized, but sometimes also see how God really works. Kapa also utlwile matla a hae. You do you understand? And then you sometimes utlwe matla a Ntate Morena Modimo, when you are facing those challenges, that is when you actually have a good relationship with God. Maybe that's actually the reason why we need to have challenges, because have ability challenge in our lives. Sometimes we even forget to pray, or I need to pray because things are going well. Why do I have to pray anyway? But how can a challenge? The first thing that we run to, it's God, you know.
mm,
And so I think di-challenge tse re kopanang le tsona di re etsa gore re be le a very good connection with God, and actually understanding gore na Ntate Morena Modimo o sebetsa jwang, you know. So yes, back then I got baptized because I was ne ke tswa kwa sermon e matla e revivang. I was like, I need to do this. But growing hanse ke hola after that, that is when I actually had a very good relationship with God. Of course, finally, our days whereby sometimes we wouldn't pray, whereby our spiritual life would be low. Do you understand? But I actually understood the power of God and how God works when I started facing challenges on my own.
ke e feng temana e le horeng mohlomong ha o kena ka hara bo uh I don't know what's going on. Can you, yeah, Diva?
It was breaking.
Um, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
All
hear you.
right, let me do this. Let me do this. I think I can hear myself. I think there's something wrong with. Let me just do this. I'm gonna come
Okay, I
back.
changed the position now because my phone is trying to charge it.
All right, no problem. As long as you can put yourself in the middle of the screen where I can. All right. Can you hear me now? Can you still hear me? All right. Let me just do this.
Is it is it okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, Div.
I can, but it's breaking.
Okay. I'm gonna do this now. Let me just.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Am I perfect? Wa nkutlwa hona tje?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, ho lokile he. Ke re ke e feng temana e le horeng ha o tsamaya kapa ha o utlwa mohlomong o kopana le mathata, ke e feng temana e le horeng you'd like recall, or the scripture that you use to motivate yourself, or maybe to get yourself up?
Mhm. It's Matthew 5. That whole, I think it's from verse from 14, I think. It's actually not even a motivating or uplifting verse. It's a story whereby it's talking about being the light of the world and being the salt of the world. I love that verse because for me, every time I read, can you still hear me?
Perfectly. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for me, every time I read that verse, it basically tells me, "Hore ra dumetse, if you are the light of the world and you are the salt, that means that there's like people are looking at you. So if you're going to tell yourself that you're a Christian, mara o tlo re, I don't care what people say about me, I don't care what people think about me, I cannot taba, but we just you're a Christian. So that verse, every time when I read that verse, it reminds me what other people are looking at me. Maybe it can be spiritually or what. So everything that I do, I need to remember that I am the light of the world. I am the salt of the world. So people are looking at me. Other people are depending on me. So if kiwela, other people, there's a possibility to do you understand? So for me,
Mm,
that verse young uplifter every time because ke a utlwa hore le nna ke jere maphelo a batho ba bang because uh Modimo wa ntjwetsa hore I'm the light of the world. Do you understand? So for me, that
yeah.
verse, every time yeah, that whole story, it just tells me hore dumetse, if well, we go through challenges sometimes spiritually, but in every time I have to ke tshwanetse ke eme as fast as I can because that means nka dira le batho ba bangata.
Wait, tell me, is it that one that I think Jesus was talking to the disciples? He was saying, I was sent by the Father, and yeah, I was sent by the Father. As He
Mm,
sent me, I am sending you to the world. Talking to the disciples.
I'm not sure.
You
I
don't
don't
you don't
remember.
recall? Okay.
I don't
Okay.
remember.
There's that one that I think it's around, yeah, I think it's on Matthew as well. It was, I
Mm,
think Jesus Christ was saying, Jalo ka ntate a nromile le nna ke a ke le roma lefatsheng le lo phethahatsa lentswe la hae, le lo ba di-messenger, basically. So a friend of mine is a pastor, he loves that verse. So I thought it's the one, but
okay.
yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Uh,
And now I wanna get to, we're looking to the conclusion of our session. I want to go back to the first question, the one that we started with, when you say I mean your poems talk about your work as a poet. W- what's your favorite poem amongst all the ones that you have, and what is it talking about? Because the other thing that I detected from you is that you embrace um Sesotho. It's like you it's like you're holding a responsibility to remind people to like embrace being Basotho, and
mm,
I don't
mm.
know, yeah, yeah. Take me through your best poem.
Uh, my what? Ke e buang ka mosadi ka basadi. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah,
Please don't tell me to recite it. But yeah, ke e buang ka basadi. Rona basadi ba bohlokwa ha kae? Ba bohlokwa ha kae? I think sometimes re ba underrated re le batho ba bomme, but not
do you
realizing
have it
how.
do you have it in your mind? Would you please do it, even if you can do half of it, so that we talk from reference, please?
Why are you doing this to me? I the last time I saw that poem or recited that poem, I think it was last year. I don't remember saying that, reciting that poem or actually checking it out.
Oh yeah.
Let me, like, I don't remember. I don't
Okay, can you
remember.
please try to squeeze yourself in on the screen? Like, yeah,
Gosh, it's going. Is it
yeah,
okay?
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, if you can just be in the middle of the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, what was I saying?
Okay, you were about to recite the poem Ebuang ka
Oh,
Basadi.
I wasn't about to recite a poem. You were, no, I remember. You asked me, Hona, what's my favorite poem? So I was saying that my favorite poem is Ebuang ka Basadi. Hona, how important women are. You know, like I was saying, I think Hona we are underrated. You know, we cannot do certain things. We cannot do 1, 2, 3, 4. Not realizing hore he la mosadi o tshwara thipa ka bahaleng nka etsa like mosadi a ka etsa ntho ngwe le ngwe motho a ntate a ka etsang. Do you understand? So it was just to remind batho ba bo mme hore na ba bohlokwa ha kae, to remind le batho ba bo ntate hore he la ska tellang basadi ska etsang 1, 2, 3, 4. Batho ba bo mme ba bohlokwa 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think the other one that's actually almost similar to that one, Ineli Ebuanga, it's still about women also. But that one, it was more about gender-based violence, where in Ebuanga, the kids, Batwa Holo, Bonkono, and then obviously Batwa Basadi, you know. That one was basically on gender-based violence.
Can you please give the taste of the first one, the one that talks about women? Just wanna hear how it goes when you're reciting.
Sure, Bashe, why are you doing that to me?
People are watching. People are watching, and I'm pretty sure they also wanna hear it.
I forgot, but I only remember just the first stanza. Is it
Okay, please
okay?
go for that one. Yeah, please.
Ke ile ka makala ha ba ntjwetsa ka mosadi, ba bua dintho di hana ho fela ka mosadi. Bang ba re ke molotsana, bang ba re ke lehlabaphio kapa lona leqhitolo. Empa utlwa he nna ke reng ka mosadi. Mme mosadi kgomohadi, kgomo e letswele le mahasula tidimahadi, kgomo ya sehangwa ke bohle. Actually, I forgot the other part.
Thank you so much. I really love your Sutu accent. So I grew up around Sutus, but it's a Free State Sutu. So when it comes
Yeah.
to yours, it's extraordinary. All right. Just before we close up, I want to question when you look at the current state of South Africa, the challenges that are faced by young people. What's the challenge that you feel like it is so unnecessary for us young people to go through, or maybe we don't have to go through something like this? Like it's it's not like there's a simplest way that we can choose not to that we can choose instead of that. Let me put it example. If I was about to ask myself the same question, just hold on a bit. uh, All right. So my question is, which challenge do you feel like we don't have to go through as young people living in the current years? For instance, if I was about to ask myself the same question, I would say it is it is not so important for young people to treat alcohol as a therapy. You know, I know people that started drinking for fun, but it ended becoming a therapy to them. You know, instead of drinking for therapeutic reasons, They can actually choose people to talk to, or find someone you can talk to, or the money that they spend on alcohol, it can actually drive them through like a monthly session of therapy, you know. So I wonder, in your world, from where you're viewing, I mean, from where you're standing, what is it that as young people we go through and you feel like this is this is so unnecessary?
Unemployment. I mean, as young people, why do we have to be unemployed? That's the first thing. Why do we have to be unemployed as young people? I mean, we go to school, we go to tertiary so that we can work, but unfortunately, it doesn't happen. Why? So it's, I think for me, it's that one of unemployment. I mean, honestly, at this rate, unemployment rate is like most of the people who are not employed are the youth. Yes, also na le ba bang who are not employed, ba baholo, mara most of the unemployed people ke batjha, it's the youth. So my question is, I don't think as young people we are supposed to go through that. On my side, I don't think we're supposed to go through that. I mean, young people, rona re le batjha, we are re ntse re le wa tsa ha o thwe motho o mafolofolo. Do you
Mm,
understand that? Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
yeah. So we come follow. We are innovative. We know how to think things through. We know how to think differently and all that. But unfortunately, people are not being hired. Sometimes youth are not being hired because of the experience that hoping we should have. I mean, how are we supposed to have experience if we're not even getting hired anyway? You know. So for me, I feel like this might be rude or I don't know, but this is me. I just feel like batho ba se ba le baholo ba sebetsang. I mean, even if it's not your time yet to retire, haibo ya fatshe hanyane le gona re kgona ho kena re le batjha. You know, there are a lot of things that young people can do. E batho ba baholo ba dutseng ditulong tse kgolo ba tse ba sa di etseng. I mean, sometimes you get too comfortable to positioning e itseng, and then you're not even aware who you need to change certain things, you know what I mean. But batjha ke bana ba dutse ba na le di-idea tse ntle, they are innovative ba tjenanang, but ha ba fuwe chance because ho thwe ha bana experience, ha ba fuwe chance hobane ho thwe ha bana 1 le 2 le 3 le 4 le 5. So for me, I just feel like rona as young people or as youth, you're not supposed to go through that. And so that's for me. The second thing that I don't think we have to go through it haholo, it's to actually depend on social media, like fully depending on social media, because we know that social media in, like I said, when I was telling you earlier, I started posting my videos on Facebook. How are people going to react and all that? But later we need to be careful because social media is very toxic. So if when you're going to depend on social media, everything how it's about social media, about your life, about or you just depend on social media. As long as your followers barata a certain thing, then it's okay. It doesn't matter when as long as your followers or the people on Facebook or Instagram bare sharp, then it's okay. So I just feel like it's true we can use social media for certain things, but let us not depend fully on it, because if we depend fully on it, it's not a balaya.
And now I think this is I think this is something that will test your knowledge in economics. Since you studied economics, by the way, I was not going to ask this if you didn't study economics. Since you studied economics, I received a question from my cousin sister. She knows that I studied economics, and she was asking me what's happening, like what's really happening. Prices are going up. I mean, investment platforms are fluctuating and ridiculously unpredictable fluctuating. What do you think? Oh my God. I hope I'm not losing you on this. Did you hear
Yeah.
me?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Should I continue?
Yep, yeah, please repeat the question.
should I repeat the question? Okay, what is going on right now in the South African economy, or maybe in the in the global economy, since like we have these prices? Because I was buying grocery for the first time actually in this year, I think in July, and with the money that I used to buy 4 plastic bags, maybe I had to buy 2 plastic bags, and it was enough, and it ended there. The money was finished. So I experienced like high rate of prices. What is it that is happening exactly? Because even on the market, I was saying that markets are fluctuating like ridiculously and are so unpredictable. What do you think is happening your with your
I
bu-
was
your
hoping
business
that you're
acumen or economics?
not
Sorry.
I was hoping that you're not going to ask me that, honestly.
All right. If you're not comfortable with it, we can let it slide. But
Yes, economics is nice, but some of the things it's a challenge,
no, it's
honestly.
okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. And I believe this is my second last question now. I want to get into relationships, romantic relationships. What uh what is love to you? Like, how do you explain love to someone? And how do you know that it's love?
I don't know.
You really
I
don't know?
I honestly don't know, man. Like, hi, a lot of you passed through situations and experiences whereby you thought you experienced love, or maybe that was love, but then you realized, oh, it wasn't love, you know. So this is me. This is just personally me. I honestly don't know what real love is, or how motho a etsa tjena na ke tla re sa mannete this person really loves me, you know. Like, I don't know. Rabana, when it comes to that, I really don't know. It's just so
Yeah.
hard for me. Mm.
You remember you spoke about toxicity, right? People experiencing toxic environment and stuff. The reason I'm asking that, it's really for that purpose. Because people are staying in relationships that do not benefit them. When you look
Yeah.
at their progress department or progression department, but they are still there, but they just